Yesterday, Federal Reserve announced that they are not in a rush to cut rates in 2024. In fact, they are also considering raising rates one more time because the inflation seems to be sticky. And since then, the hopes from the real estate bulls in Canada has been killed because Bank of Canada is likely to follow the suit as well because of the same obvious reasons that I discussed in my previous video. That brings up the question about the housing affordability in Canada. So National Bank has published a report back in February about the housing affordability crisis across Canada. They covered 10 major markets in Canada, and pretty much 8 out of 10 markets are actually, out of the affordability matrix. So if you look at this chart, you can see that the affordability index has gone worse, and it is going all the way back to 1980s level. And since then, we haven't seen that level of unaffordability in Canada, since 1980s. And if you see the other chart that shows you the deterioration in the affordability is actually on a net basis much worse compared to the improvement over the time. And what I'm going to show you here is basically the Toronto market. So if you look at this data, that shows you the non-condo, which means townhouses, semi-detached, detached houses. The median price of a non-condo property in Toronto is $1.2 million. Okay, you need a household income of minimum $261,000 to be able to afford a median house in Toronto. Okay, so if you're starting from scratch, you need to save, for 306 months before you can actually put down a down payment. That is the level of unaffordability we are talking about in Canada. And condo market, if you look at that, the median price of a condo is $718,000. So from a household income perspective, which means, husband, wife, both, you need to have a minimum household income of $179,000 to be able to afford a condo in Toronto. Okay. Now, if you look at the affordability index, it has gone worse. Okay. From a condo, it's not that bad, but for the non-condo market, it has gone worst. And the other chart shows you the delta between, rent versus owning the property. So you can see it is much, much cheaper to rent a property, whether this is condo or non-condo, compared to owning a property. So if somebody is thinking about, buying versus rent, hands down, right now, it's much cheaper to rent a property in Toronto. Okay. If you are an investor in the US, in Canada, or in Europe, and you are considering investing into Dubai real estate market, this video is for you because we have a platform called Stake, which allows you to invest into the residential real estate market and start earning rental income right away without going through a lengthy documentation process or coming up with a heavy down payment. Stake is built upon the concept of crowdfunding. So it is democratizing the entire investment strategy and allows you to own a single unit of the entire investment portfolio. So you don't have to own the entire property, right? You can be part of the pool that can actually own a piece of property, a piece of real estate. So that allows you to start with as low as 2,000 dirhams, and you can slowly ramp up. So as you start investing into it, you can not only own a bit of real estate, but you also get a portion of the rental income on monthly basis. So it's a passive investment strategy, diversifying your portfolio from traditional North American or European markets into Dubai, which is hustling and bustling and growing very fast, and allows you to build your wealth over time. So don't delay. There is a link down there in the description. If you click on this, it will give you free 200 dirhams in your account right away to start with, and you can thank me later. They covered 10 markets, and 8 out of 10 markets are actually unaffordable. Look at Montreal. Pretty much same story here. Renting is much cheaper and the affordability is actually worse. Vancouver, same story. Big delta between renting and owning, and of course unaffordability off the charts. Calgary is not bad actually. Okay, so you can see the rent versus own delta between 2018 and 2021 it was much cheaper to own the property compared to renting. Now that story is being flipped, okay, because of the obvious reason, because of the inter-provincial migration that's happening into Calgary. Edmonton, similar story. It was much cheaper to own in Edmonton, and that story was same since 2014 all the way until just now, like 2022. It was much cheaper to own versus renting. But that equation is also changing, it being flipped. The unaffordability index is also still quite low compared to going back to 2007 peak. So I think Calgary and Edmonton, there are the clear winners so far. Ottawa, same story. Quebec City, same story. Cheaper to rent, expensive to own. Winnipeg, similar story. It was cheaper to own, but now it has flipped. Hamilton, similar story here. Victoria, same story, and so on, so on. So basically, 8 out of 10 markets are completely unaffordable. Calgary and Edmonton has been affordable, but the situation is also changing there as well. So sorry for the interruption, guys. Just wanted to let you know that we have a team of realtors which is covering the entire GTA as well as some outside areas as well, like Brant region where I am based off, and I help out the clients in this region as well. So if you have any needs with regards to real estate transactions, buying, selling, investing, renting, let me know. There is a link down there where you can book a one-to-one consulting call with me, and we will be more than happy to help you out. Let's get back to the video. Before we wrap up this video, I want to share something else. Even if you're lucky enough to make over $200,000 in Toronto, which is, by the way, the top 2% earners in Canada, okay, you end up paying the highest marginal tax rate on that salary. So imagine that. This is the Canadian dream, right? So you need to make at least over $200,000 to be able to afford the median house in Toronto. But at the same time, the Canadian government considers you a super rich because that is a top 2% salary income in Canada. And if you are in that category, you will be taxed at a much higher marginal tax rate, which is around 60%. So you're screwed from the both sides. The government is taxing you at the highest marginal rate, and you're barely able to afford a median house in Canada. That is the Canadian dream, guys. Welcome to Canada. Anyway, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and put your comments down below. Let me know what you think about this, and if you have any questions, ask me away, and I'll see you in my next video.